Hello YouTube and welcome. It's midsummer and Parkside has finally decided to release to the market its new electric cooling box. I have to admit, I had some doubts if it's going to be released this year, but Parkside surprised me once again. However, after doing few tests with the new tool, I am more like disappointed than surprised. I'm not surprised at all that the new Parkside electric cooling box amazingly resembles the old Metabo electric cooling box. Both of them are using Peltier element. Don't get confused by the label C-pentane on Parkside or cyclopentane on Metabo. Like I said, the two boxes are using a Peltier element, not a compressor, and the labels are referring to the blowing agent used in the polyurethane isolation of the walls. The boxes can be powered by three different power sources: a standard Parkside or Metabo lithium-ion battery, a standard 230 volts household power outlet, or using a standard 12 volts car cigarette lighter, with the slight difference that on Metabo you can even use a 24 volts truck cigarette lighter. Selecting the power source on both boxes can be done with the use of a 3-position switch. As you already saw, the two boxes offer cooling and heating mode, with the slight difference that the switch on Metabo has an off position. And finally, both boxes are using a simple potentiometer for power regulation: off, eco and max. The boxes are using brushless fans. Well, at least for Metabo I'm sure it's brushless. According to Parkside, in cooling mode at 230 volts the rated power input is 52 watts and 45 watts at 20 volts. Metabo in cooling mode at 230 volts is 50 watts and 50 watts at 18 volts. I'm not sharing numbers in heating mode, as I highly doubt anybody would be using the boxes in that mode. The two boxes share absolutely the same volume of 24 liters. Without the battery, Parkside is exactly 4.95 kilograms. Metabo is about 500 grams heavier. Forgot to mention that both have a really convenient bottle openers. Some information from Metabo's manual, but I presume it's the same on Parkside. Unfortunately, I don't have its manual. At maximum power, the inside temperature can reach 20 degrees cooler than the outside temperature, measured at 23 degrees outside temperature. Let's perform a simple cooling test with empty boxes. Measuring probes of the two thermometers are in the exact same position. I will be using three exactly the same thermometers, one measuring the room temperature and one in each of the boxes. You can see their readings are almost the same. Even more, the walls of the two boxes are with exactly the same temperature. Well, you can see guys that after 33 minutes the temperature difference between the two boxes is huge, 6 degrees Celsius. Let's continue monitoring. After 1 hour and 5 minutes, the temperature difference is even bigger, 8 degrees Celsius. And remember, the two boxes are empty, we're cooling only the air inside. If they were full with, let's say, ambient temperature, beer or water, the cooling process would take a lot longer, let's say one night or probably even 24 hours. However, the idea behind those boxes is to place inside something that's already cold, and to keep it cold as long as possible. They are not refrigerators. Parkside is definitely cooling 11 degrees difference from the room temperature, but it's nothing like Metabo. The temperature difference on it is 20 degrees Celsius, just as much as advertised in its manual. 2 hours and 25 minutes later, let's take a deeper look on the cooling boxes using the thermal camera. On Parkside, the highest temperature is about 49 degrees Celsius. On Metabo is about 46. Two hours and 30 minutes, 7 degrees versus 16. Let's open the boxes and take a look inside. Exactly 7 degrees according to the thermal camera. (16 degrees). Forgot to mention that both boxes are using quite similar and really cheap looking isolation for their doors. Let's measure the power consumption when using the cooling box on a 230 volts power source. About 63, 62. $10 more, 72. I'm not sure if you were able to hear it, but the fan on Parkside is noisier. Well, I think it's finally time for some battery tests. I'll be using 8 Ah batteries. The Metabo is absolutely brand new. The Parkside, well, let's take a look at its statistics. First, let's identify the battery. Yeah, this is the correct battery. Statistics, you can see the total runtime, 4 days and 6 hours, and you can see the charging and the discharging cycles. By the way, when doing my tests, I found a bug on both Lido and Parkside applications. When you try to monitor the discharge current, you get this, charging complete. Let's try one more time. Charging complete. And again, and as you can see, there's no discharge current reading. Let's try the same with the Parkside application. As you can see, it's the latest version. The battery is ready to use, and now it's charging. Again, it's ready to use, and again it's charging. Oh cool, we have a charging cooling box. And the issue is no battery related, it's the same with my second 8 Ah battery. In both boxes are two half-liter water bottles with a temperature of about 23 degrees. 23 again. Let's see if we'll be able to cool them using one 8 Ah battery and how long would it take. exactly 1 hour. Metabo is on 2 bars. Let's try to check the Parkside battery. So have it. I think it's this one. It's charging again. But over there you can see the orange LED is blinking. One hour and 30 minutes. The temperature difference between the boxes is about 5 degrees Celsius. Metabo is on 1 bar. Parkside, well, I don't know what's wrong with the cooling box, the smart battery and the little application, but if I'm not terribly wrong, the battery level indicator is acting like it's in a charging process. A freaky stuff. Two hours later, the cooling boxes are still running. The temperature difference is almost 6 degrees. Metabo is on 1 flashing bar. Parkside, I don't know, nobody does. Well, that's it for Metabo. 2 hours and 5 minutes. Honestly, I was expecting a different outcome, but 12.5 degrees. Let's open the cooling box and take a look inside. The minimum temperature is 6.97 degrees. And the water is 17 degrees Celsius. Now let's continue monitoring Parkside. Two hours and 45 minutes. I'm getting a little bit worried whether the cooling box will stop the discharge process when the battery voltage reaches its critical minimum. That's why I will do a simple test. I will restart the cooling box. It continues to run, but now we have a red flashing LED indicator. Three hours and 20 minutes and the box continues to run. I will do the same test again. Two hours and 22 minutes, and I think that's it for Parkside. But take a look at that. Instead of totally stopping the discharge process, the control board inside the cooling box stops the discharge for half a second, then it resumes, then it stops again, and I don't know for how long it will continue, but definitely this shouldn't be like this. I think that the low voltage cutoff function is not working properly. The temperature got a little bit higher from the lowest 17.5, but nevertheless, let's take a look inside the Parkside. The lowest temperature is about 14 degrees. And the lowest temperature, on the bottle is about 18. When using a fully charged 8 amp-hour battery, you can expect a runtime of 2 hours with Metabo. Of course, there's a chance the runtime to be lower due to this battery being absolutely new, but I think the latest lithium-ion chemistry doesn't suffer from that. With Parkside, you can expect a runtime of 3 hours and 20 minutes. Parkside really struggled to reach an internal temperature of 17.5 degrees. Metabo reached 12.4, if I'm not wrong. Of course, if you're using the cooling boxes as intended, meaning that inside is something that's already cold, and the power regulator is set on eco, I'm pretty sure the runtime will be 3 to 4 times longer. After removing the Parkside battery from the cooling box, this is the information you get. Please charge 0. I will reinsert the battery and let's see what will happen. Again, please charge. And let's start the magical cooling box. It's charging. My final test, which I'm not planning to film as it will end up too long, so you have to trust me about the results, will be using something already cold. The boxes will operate on battery power. I'll be using the same fully charged 8 amp-hour batteries. The two power regulators will be set to the end of the eco scale. I really hope this is the end on Parkside. In each of the boxes I will place 3 half-liter beer cans and 2 330 milliliters beer bottles. By the way, this over here is a real beer, not the Corona shit Vin Diesel is promoting. The temperature of the beers is 5 degrees Celsius. They will be placed in a similar fashion inside the two cooling boxes, and the ambient room temperature is about 29 degrees Celsius. Beers are already cooling down the air inside the boxes. Let's start the timer and the two boxes. One hour later, Metabo, Parkside. 2 hours and 25 minutes. I will increase a little bit the power on Parkside. 4 hours and 10 minutes. The Metabo battery is on 3 bars. I will have to disconnect the Parkside battery so I can check. 2 bars. And after reconnecting it, Again, it started flashing like it's charging. Almost 6 hours. And the temperature readings are, let's say, disappointing. I will increase the power on both cooling boxes. Six hours and 20 minutes, and I see some substantial improvement on Metabo. Parkside, however. Okay, let's put them on max. Almost 6 hours and 40 minutes. I'm getting really tired here. After increasing the power to max, I see some temperature drop on Metabo and some temperature drop on Parkside, but it's far from what I was expecting. Of course, this is the temperature of the air inside. Maybe, just maybe, the temperature of the beer will be different. Let's open the boxes and take a look at the beer. Well, let me remove the thermometer. So, the lowest temperature is 15 degrees. Well, let's do the same with Metabo. Yeah, the beer is inside. And the lowest temperature is 11 degrees, but this is the temperature of the wall, not the temperature of the beer. As far as I can tell, yeah, this is the temperature of the wall. If I pull out one of the beers, (15, 16 degrees Celsius). Now let's pull out one beer from Parkside also. (20 degrees, 5 degrees more. After those 6 hours and 40 minutes, the battery of Metabo is at 1 bar. Let's pull out the battery of Parkside. 1 bar also. Yeah, I'm quite disappointed from both boxes. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Probably I should ask Metabo for advice. I'm sure that Parkside won't be able to answer my questions. Let's take a closer look at the internals, starting with Metabo. We have a switching power supply, the control board with the switches and the potentiometer, some relay logic for choosing between the power sources, the fan, and of course the radiator. Beneath it is the peltier. Basically almost the same on Parkside. Switching power supply, control board, relay logic. It's smaller, probably because we have one power source less. If you remember, Metabo can be powered by a 24 volts truck cigarette lighter. Having the two boxes open, we can finally measure the power consumption when running on battery. Starting with Parkside. Knowing those numbers gives us a better understanding on the runtime. Metabo battery is rated 144 watt hours at 70 watts average power consumption. The runtime is about 2 hours. Parkside battery is rated 160 watt hours at 43 watts average power consumption. This gives us about 3.7 hours. During that time we have a voltage drop in the batteries, a change in the internal resistance of the Peltier element, some other factors, so it's a really rough estimation, but it seems it's the correct one. And having the boxes still open, I will measure the voltage going to the Peltier element. The power source is 18 volts battery. 11.7. Let's change the power source to 230 volts. $11.4. The power source is battery. $11.5. Let's change it to 230 volts AC. The same. I had a plan to remove the aluminum radiators and take a closer look on the Peltier elements, or even replace the one in Parkside with a better quality. I already have such. I even got a high quality thermal paste, but this video is already getting ridiculously long, so I will skip this part. At the end of this video, something that's not important at all, but somehow it annoys me. The doors closing the power source cables on Metabo. They look really low quality. On Parkside, looking from the same angle, you can hardly tell there are any doors at all. I'm pretty sure some of you would ask me how much are 24 liters. Well, 2.5 liter water bottles, 6 beer cans, 4 330 milliliters beer bottles, and 2 half-liter water bottles. And there's even space for another 2 or 3 beers. Enough with this endless review. If you ask me, don't buy either of these cooling boxes, especially don't buy Parkside. Thanks guys, bye and see you soon.